welcome to another episode of Taco Bites, your daily bite of DGen. We had episode 420 this afternoon as we took you on for the afternoon break, lunch break. But this is we left court early today, just as Caroline Ellison finished up her disposition. Oh my gosh, it has been a long day. Her depot, and then with the defense cross-examining, followed by the prosecution finishing up. Then we had sort of the most heated arguments of the day between the defense and prosecutors on audio clips, 6 with 5 of them playing from the final Alameda all-hands meeting on November 8th of 2022, the day after FTX announced that they were looking at getting purchased by CZ, by Binance, which then fell apart, as we all know. This meeting, originally thought to be unrecorded, was actually recorded by a 3-day-old employee, Rick Best. So as Christian Drappi, Drappi, took to the stand for the prosecution, he sort of talked about his history of being a software engineer, what his job was in communicating regularly, daily, as needed with the traders and the settlers on the team out of both the Hong Kong office, the San Francisco office, and the Bahamas office. And so he sort of talked about how he worked directly underneath and took directions from either Ellison or directly from Sam Bankman-Fried, and that he remembers when the co-ownership was sort of passed on, as he started working in May 31st of 2021. And so he worked a lot with face-to-face meetings, teleconferences, as there was a direct open line between Bahama and Hong Kong office via Slack and Signal. And then he remembers in the third quarter of 2021 when CEO transferred from SBF to Ellison, and then co-CEO between Ellison and Sam Tribecu. I'm going to butcher his name, and I apologize. But there was a lot of fighting between on whether or not who the agent and primary party was being talked about. And so 2 different trades specifically that Christian talked about coming directly from Sam, sort of getting rid of the myth that there was a barrier between FTX and Alameda, was mainly, and he classified that he didn't remember the direction of the trade, whether it was selling Japanese government bonds and buying currency, or selling currency and buying Japanese government bonds. Per notes from Ellison earlier, her notes pointed out towards buying Japanese government bonds. So we do know that there was this piece in it. So they might have been looking at those bonds as liquid assets or long-term assets that that could then be illiquid, but not be considered a negative debt brand for them. The second trade that Sam had direct position on was direct selling of NASDAQ stocks to hedge against the crypto that they held. And so what he did talk about was on Tuesday, the night of Tuesday, November 8th, him working when he realized that he was sort of told, that the tweet where SBF had tweeted out that CZ was looking to buy FTX, and the first investor would be the last investor, as he said. And so then it was sort of picked apart on how that really sort of pulled anything apart. But then we also saw a big piece moving forward, as the hearing, or as the final Alameda all hands on deck meeting was recorded by employee Rick Best, which was then later shared with Christian Drappi. And Rick Best was a trader that was only 3 days hired. So imagine a new employee, and on your second day, you were told, your company's going under and being bought out by Binance. And on third day, you're sort of told by your boss that you've been borrowing customer funds to make all of your trades and pay off all your loans. The biggest quote from that piece was, "This wasn't just like a YOLO thing, right?" And so we see, Caroline sort of taking a nervous approach in answer to this, which was really interesting. Hearing her in the moment and everything, um, those nervous laughs and giggles when you're sort of releasing something off of your chest, as it has been pronounced that she was. Um, from her holding this in for so long, and trying to give an answer without trying to incriminate herself anymore or make it look like she had been doing something bad the entire time. So we will see how that plays out tomorrow in court. And so that will be a really interesting piece as well. But like I said, one of the biggest quotes was from Christian Drappi to Ellison was, "This wasn't just like a YOLO thing, right?" And so you could sort of see both the attitude of uh, ease of communication, meaning that there was very open communication between employees and their CEO. Bold statements in that, and how sort of out of the woodwork that it was. Caroline then went to go on and say that, if anyone took the time to really look at the balance sheets, they could see that themselves. Or that is so what she said was that it was sort of there, and that people could sort of see it and determine it themselves. But I think it was if you're looking at all of the balance sheets, and everything within their pointer system as well, which was their internal terminal, to sort of push all of that out. So very interesting pieces there. We will see how that continues tomorrow. And when asked, that it was one of those options that Alameda had sort of since the inception of FTX, as Alameda was the initial company, that Alameda had the entire FTX book to be able to borrow from. So that is it for today. We will be doing some more information as we get all of our notes sort of together tonight, and put some stuff out. But we could actually see one of the biggest things that I noticed was the judge called on the defense after Caroline Ellison testified, and her testimony was over, and then the defense was attempting to stop these audio clips from being played. It was one of those things to where we saw that um, the judge called on the defense, asking why they did not work to discredit Caroline. And so it was a very interesting thing. Um, you know, uh, Really, really interesting. The judge did make sort of light of all of the powerhouse of attorneys that were present as well. Um, and sort of not made light, but also sort of made point towards the gravity of the situation, with the statement, "It is rare that a judge has so many smart and compelling attorneys that could make a case for anything." So we will see more as we finish up the week tomorrow here at the court, and we hope that you have a great and wonderful day, and thank you for joining us. And as always, we're going to end with just the worst knock knock joke on the face of the planet, as we end every episode. So we want to thank you for joining us. But knock knock.